All right, YouTube, back again with another video, man. This is gonna be a little bit different. Gonna do another nuclear disaster. And yeah, if you haven't seen the last one we did the Demon Core. This one is gonna be on the elephant's foot. Let's see. I think this has to do with Chernobyl, whereas the Demon Core had to do with Hiroshima when they were making the atomic bomb. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be a different demographic, different location from the last one. And yeah, let's get right into it. I really know very little about this phenomena, so let's see. But yeah, again, shout out Kyle Hill, man. Banger video, man. I'm gonna link his video, the original, down below.
200 seconds. 200 seconds next to it would lead to a relatively quick death, which is better than many alternatives. Spend just 30 seconds near it.
So if you're standing next to this item for 200 seconds, it's giving off enough radiation to kill you. 200 seconds, that's like a little bit over 3 minutes. That's fucking crazy. Like, radiation is scary because you wouldn't smell it, you wouldn't feel it. It would just be in the air killing you. Like, you know, they say like, oh, you know, radiation does have an odor, but here's the thing. I think it has an odor in the end when it's gone. I don't think it has, like, I'm pretty sure it's odorless. You know, that's what people say. I don't think you're just smelling radiation like that. Let's see, 200 seconds, man. Hey, we're only 12 seconds into this video and I'm already flabbergasted. What the fuck is that?
And dizziness and fatigue would find you a week later. 2 minutes of exposure, and your cells would soon begin to hemorrhage.
Oh my
4
God.
minutes, vomiting, diarrhea, fever. 200 seconds in its presence, and you would have just days to live.
Holy shit.
By the fall of 1986, emergency crews fighting to contain the nuclear disaster at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant made it into the basement. They turned a corner into a steam corridor beneath failed reactor number 4 and found not steam, but black lava that had oozed out of the core, eaten through meters of concrete, and settled on the floor. The largest and most famous formation in the corridor was a 2-ton wrinkled mass that their radiation sensors firmly told them not to approach. With cameras pushed in from around a corner, the workers documented the dimly lit mass. According to readings taken at the time, the still hot portion of the molten reactor core was putting out enough radiation to give anyone within 3 feet of it a lethal dose in just 200 seconds.
You couldn't stand
This
3
is the
feet
true
from
story
it.
of the elephant's foot.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Dude, shout out to Kyle Hill, because all of these videos that he posts are literally from essays that he wrote. They're just, like, that's what he's reading off while he's, you know, doing the video. He's reading off an essay that he wrote for school. Because I think he has a master's in nuclear science or like nuclear medicine or whatever. It's like, bro, that's crazy, man. Shout out to this guy. That's when being smart really pays. Like, it pays off.
During a routine test on April 26, 1986, reactor number 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant experienced a power surge born of poor reactor design and human error, which triggered an emergency shutdown.
So it was human error?
The attempt to manage the surge in power and alarming increase in the core's temperature caused an even larger power surge of 12,000%. Control rods that are used to manage core temperature were inserted too late. A gross safety violation, there weren't even enough control rods in the core to begin with. Their insertion into the increasingly hot core caused the rods themselves to crack and fracture, locking them in place. Heat and power output continued to rise until the water that was used to cool the entire reactor began to vaporize, generating massive amounts of pressure. The first
was that hot?
From the steam inside the reactor was large enough to send a 4 million pound lid of the reactor assembly through the roof of the building.
Oh,
the reactor
shit.
now fatally damaged, the remaining cooling water from broken channels seeped into the reactor as well, flashing directly into steam as it touched the soon-to-be glowing hot nuclear fuel rods. A second, even more massive explosion followed shortly after the first, belching core material into the air, spreading fire and radioactive ash. It is estimated that the fires that rage in Reactor 4 spread 400 times more radiation than the nuclear blast that wiped Hiroshima off the map.
Wait, so the amount of radiation from the blast in Chernobyl was literally more radiation than the radiation given from the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. What? And this was an accident. This is just humans fucking up and not doing the right calculations. And bro, this is why some people, like, we just gotta leave some shit alone, bro. It's just like, bro, This could have took the whole world out. Like, not literally, but I'm saying like this mentality of like, well, let's just play with a dangerous chemical. It's like, bro, this is gonna kill us all. What the fuck?
Over 160,000 square kilometers of Russia and Europe were eventually contaminated.
Oh my god. So
With
much?
a glowing heart no longer shielded by tons of steel and concrete, the core could no longer be cooled. It began to melt. When you hear about a nuclear reactor melting down, it's not simply illustrative language. Without proper cooling, radioactive materials used as fuel get hotter and hotter due to their close proximity and continuous emission of high-energy particles.
What?
Nuclear fuel literally heats itself up until it melts, turning into what is arguably the most dangerous substance on Earth.
Thorium.
If you wanted to know what the most dangerous material ever created was, corium would be a good answer. At Chernobyl, the loss of coolant caused a meltdown of the uranium fuel, up to a third of which was scattered into the atmosphere. Estimates vary, but up to 160,000 kilograms of uranium, radioactive in many thousands of degrees, melted and flowed into the bottom of the reactor vessel. 8 days later, the flow had melted through the reactor's lower shield.
Damn.
Oozing through basement pipes, pooling in steam corridors.
That shit is like
bleeding through
lava.
2 meters of steel and concrete, the radioactive lava flow from reactor number 4 eventually cooled enough to solidify in the basement.
Wow.
Thousands of kilograms of molten uranium oxide, sand, metal, silica glass, and other materials, a composite monstrosity dubbed corium. In addition to being the world's arguably most dangerous material, it might be also the rarest artificial material. Corium is only formed in a nuclear meltdown. Corium has only been created accidentally 5 times. Once in the 3 Mile Island reactor in Pennsylvania in 1979, once at Chernobyl, and 3 separate times during the much more recent Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. Now I say accidentally created because there are scientists and engineers who study corium and create it on purpose. For example, this is a video of molten uranium oxide, like what would have been found beneath Chernobyl, bubbling and boiling at around 2,000 degrees Celsius at Argonne National Laboratory.
Oh my
Remember,
god.
this heat is self-generated.
So nuclear waste, when it's like that, can literally generate heat that's 2,000 degrees Celsius hot, or like it's that hot, like 2,000 degrees Celsius. That's fucking crazy, bro. Like that's gnarly, bro. And I'm assuming that that's where we get the power from it. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I was talking about my ass. I don't know, man.
By itself, corium can get half as hot as the surface of the sun.
What?
Corium is never pure nuclear fuel. Rather, it's a radioactive Frankenstein of fuel rods, fission products, the control rods in the core, concrete from the floor, steel from the surrounding structures, and the chemicals created when blazing uranium reacts with air, water, and steam. Here you can see a simulation of what corium actually does, easily disintegrating concrete as it escapes confinement. In the lab, corium is still terrifying but controlled and mesmerizing in a way that lava and its destructive capabilities can often be. It's almost beautiful.
Oh my god.
At Chernobyl, there was no such beauty. After the corium was done flowing, the result was an ominous collection of stalactites, stalagmites, steam valves clogged with hardened radioactive lava, and the large gray mass that would later be dubbed the elephant's foot. The elephant's foot could be the most dangerous piece of waste in the world.
Holy shit.
Of the 5 accidental corium creations, only Chernobyl's has escaped confinement. Radioactive atoms are unstable atoms. While something like hydrogen is just fine with a nucleus consisting of a single proton, radioactive elements like uranium, the most common isotope of which contains 92 protons and 146 neutrons, are not so happy. Photons, electrons, protons, and neutrons are randomly ejected from the nuclei of these large atoms, transforming them until something like plutonium degrades over time into a stable element like lead. Particles emitted from radioactive atoms are a form of ionizing radiation. That is, they have enough energy to rip apart the atoms and molecules they crash into, changing how they interact with other atoms and molecules, ionizing them. Non-ionizing radiation, on the other hand, like the kind emitted by your cell phone, does not have enough energy to break atomic bonds.
Oh, wow, okay.
Ionizing radiation then directly causes the terrible symptoms of radiation sickness by simply smashing through enough molecular machinery in your body.
So that's like when they were saying like, hey, 5G is so dangerous, it's gonna create radiation and it's gonna kill you. That's why they were saying that.
DNA can be repaired, new cells can be generated, but with enough nanoscopic damage, cells start to function irregularly or die outright, leading to cancer or organ failure, respectively. Because of the way radiation damages human cells by knocking atoms and molecules out of place, death by radiation is a, relatively speaking, slow one.
Yeah.
Fever, nausea, confusion, cancer, organ failure. Up to a point, over time, treatment does help, but extremely high doses of radiation, like the kind that would be delivered by close contact with the elephant's foot, are always a death sentence. The more radiation released from a mass of atoms, the more dangerous it is. Reports from Chernobyl estimate that immediately after formation, the elephant's foot was emitting nearly 10,000 Roentgens per hour. It only takes about 1/10 of that rate to kill a person.
Oh
A
my
single
god.
hour next to the elephant's foot would expose you to the equivalent of over 4.5 million chest x-rays all at once.
That's so crazy.
Shortly after the Chernobyl meltdown, nearly 600,000 workers descended on the site to help contain the escaping radiation. Knowingly or not, many of these workers were making the greatest sacrifice.
Oh my god,
134
no.
were hospitalized with acute radiation syndrome. 28 of them died within months following the incident. And
What?
current estimates put the total number of deaths from related cancers due to the contamination across Russia and Europe somewhere between 9 and 16,000.
Oh no. That many people died.
After the nuclear fires at Chernobyl were finally controlled, a feat which took 9 full days, workers scrambled to contain the invisible dangers of the failed core. In May of 1986, construction began on the sarcophagus, a gigantic concrete enclosure built to seal off the radiation from the outside world. But the ruins would never be entirely contained, even after the installation of a much larger tomb in 2016. The Chernobyl sarcophagus is out.
So this happened in 1984, and this shit is still there. Like, they just had to cover it up with a big dome. Imagine that, bro. That's how fucking crazy humans are. They did something almost fucking 30 years ago, and it literally is still affecting the environment today. That's gnarly.
Outfitted with access points, allowing researchers to observe the core and workers to enter. In December of 1986, researchers discovered the elephant's foot. It was a couple of meters across, over 4,000 kilograms, and put out enough radiation to prevent anyone from getting near it for more than just a few seconds. But despite the dangers, we have pictures like this one of
Right.
the deadly mass. How? Well, from a safe distance, workers, or liquidators as they were called, rigged up a crude wheeled camera contraption and pushed it slowly and from around a corner towards the elephant's foot. This photo, almost never seen in discussions of the elephant's foot, was taken in 1990, 4 years after the incident. The
Wow.
slide the photo is on was given to a Dr. Bill Zoller at the University of Washington's Department of Chemistry. The caption reads, quote, "This is a slide I obtained from the Russians. It shows what is called the elephant's foot. The Russians obtained this picture by sending a man down there with a camera. He took one picture and then came back up.
Did he die?
I was told that he died.
Oh
from the
my
radiation
god.
He had received."
Dude, imagine being that guy and they tell you, hey, go take a picture of that. Like, why? Why the fuck would you do that? No, I don't want to take a picture of that. Oh, so they told him, hey, go take a picture of that. He went down, took a picture, and then died later. Like, what the fuck, dude? We're playing with fire with that. Like, that's so gnarly.
Life. End quote. When this photo of the elephant's foot was taken, 10 years after the disaster, the elephant's foot was only emitting 1/10 of the radiation it once had been.
Oh,
Still,
wow, okay.
Nearly 500 seconds of exposure at this level would bring on mild radiation sickness, and a little over an hour of exposure would be fatal.
Wow.
Another photo, a timed selfie by Russian nuclear inspector Artur Korneyev, is arguably the most famous and most disturbing photo of the elephant's foot. According to an investigation by Atlas Obscura, the ghostly image of Artur is likely not due to anything spooky, just the shutter speed, as is the time-lapse-like streak from the flashlight. But the grittiness you see in the photo, that's from the radiation.
What? Wait, so the radiation is giving off so much energy that when they're taking a photo of it, it's fucking the photo up to where it looks grainy. It's so crazy.
Over time, the elephant's foot has decomposed. It has puffed dust while its surface cracked, but more than 30 years later, it is still quite dangerous. In 2001, levels were measured that would give you a lethal dose of radiation in under 60 minutes. Extrapolating from how radiation sources degrade over time, today that deadly limit is probably a few hours, and today, the elephant's foot, once nuclear lava eating through the corpse of Chernobyl, is still hotter than the surrounding air temperature and environment thanks to the radioactive heat pulsing inside of it.
Holy shit.
Born of human error, continually generating heat in the basement of a failed power plant, the elephant's foot is still melting into the base of Chernobyl, albeit very slowly.
What?
If it hits groundwater, scientists still worry that it could trigger another explosion like the one that killed the core and lifted 4 million pounds like it was a paperweight, or it could leach radioactive material into the water that nearby residents drink.
Holy shit.
Long after bleeding from the core, this unique piece of waste continues to be a terrifying testament to the potential dangers of nuclear power, even though nuclear power as a whole is extremely safe. Until it is finally removed, if it ever is, the elephant's foot will be there for centuries, sitting in the dark basement of a concrete and steel sarcophagus, a symbol of one of humankind's most powerful tools gone wrong.
What the fuck, bro?
Until next time.
Oh my god.
Thank you so much to the very nerdy
Shout out
staff.
Kyle Hill, man. Fuck. I didn't know it was that crazy, bro. Like, I knew about Chernobyl. I knew about, like, the accident, but I didn't realize that there's a large piece of nuclear waste at the basement of Chernobyl that's literally that deadly. And they're saying that they're never going to be able to clean that up and that it's still emitting heat. Holy shit. But yeah, that's going to be it, man. That's going to be it. Like, share, and subscribe.